Alright, so for my first tutorial, I want to take you through just my basic everyday eye makeup look. So I'm a physical therapist, so I still have to wear a mask at work, so I only do my eye makeup. So that's kind of convenient because eye makeup is something that I've pretty much worn most of my life, like since I was like 16 or something. So I've always kind of done eyeshadow, eyeliner, and mascara. So I continue to do that now while wearing my mask, but then I'm gonna show you like kind of my quick face as a toddler mom. You know, you don't have a ton of time. So also one of my main objectives for this channel is to show you products that are dual purpose so that you can kind of cut down your time on things and kind of try out the products so that you don't have to, because I personally have returned a lot of products that I didn't like. So I'll be the one that saves you the time of going to the store, picking up that crappy product, and then having to take it back. And then do remember that too. So if you ever buy something from Ulta or Sephora, you can take it back after you use it, even Meyer. I've done it to all the places because I've gotten tired of spending so much money on skincare and makeup that actually sucks. So don't forget that. Always return the stuff that you don't like or didn't work for you or wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. I can't emphasize enough, so you're busy, you definitely don't have time to reapply products, so always making sure you're priming your face and your eyelids. So we're gonna start here with eyes. My personal favorite is the Urban Decay. This is the anti-aging eyeshadow primer potion. Half of the reason I like it is there's a nice brush and you can easily just put it on your eye. And I bring it all the way up to the eyebrow. And then I know this seems silly because I just said this is so convenient, but I like to press it in just to make sure that everything is nice and even. And it just makes applying your eyeshadow so much more convenient. And also the bonus of using a primer is that your eyeshadows are gonna look more pigmented and then you're not gonna get any creasing in your actual crease throughout the day. And especially if you have oily eyelids, definitely start with a primer. The next thing I always do is apply a setting powder over top of my eyeshadow primer. My current favorite is one from Unique. It's just a translucent setting powder, and then I use a pretty fluffy setting brush. This is a Unique brush also. It's a setting powder brush. You can use a slightly smaller one, but I would say definitely using a fluffy one so that it's not going to put all of the powder in one place. And the reason I love this one is just because it is so big, and then you can kind of just dust it off if you get a ton. But just using a fluffy one. And then you're ready to go. So that's not a must, but especially if you have oily eyelids, I would highly recommend a translucent setting powder. So this eyeshadow look that I'm showing you right now is just kind of my current go-to. I like to change it up from time to time, so you'll kind of see that throughout my different videos. But my current palette that I've been using is from Too Faced. It's the Sweet Peach one. It has a lot of pretty colors, and it does kind of have a peach smell. I can't say I'm a fan of scented products, but I didn't really realize that when I purchased it. I thought just Sweet Peach was just kind of showcasing the fact that it was a peach palette. But to my surprise, because I obviously didn't read it, I was in a rush, it was on sale, it looked like a good palette, so here we are. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in with a blending brush. This particular one is from Unique. I love using this for my very first shade to go in on the eyelid. I'm going to use the shade Georgia here. It's a very light pink, but I just tap it in there, and then I tap off a little bit of the excess, but for this particular color, I don't tap off a ton. And then I make sure it goes just above my crease because I have a little bit of a hooded eye. And then you can see it just above there, because if I had put it in my actual crease and then opened my eye, it would have kind of brought the color back in and you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm gonna go in and do the other side, and then we'll move on to the next shade. And you can see it's very light, but just a hint of color to get going. And then the next one is Peaches and Cream, this pretty light color. So I like to start with the lighter colors, and then I start to add a little bit more. So this is a base eyeshadow brush from Real Techniques. I love a lot of their brushes as well. And for this, I'm just gonna tap off the excess, and I'm just gonna press it along the remaining part of the eyelid and kind of get it up into shade number 1. And then I go back in with my blending brush just to kind of blend those two colors together. nothing fancy. Like I said, this is just my daily go-to look. So it's relatively fast for when I'm headed to work and there's a ton of construction where I live, so I try to keep it pretty basic for the morning so that I'm not late for my patients. Next up, I'm going to apply a shimmer shade to my eyelid. I've been using an old Urban Decay Naked palette brush. This is from like the original Naked palette, but I just really love the brush in general. And then one of my other favorites is an Urban Decay All Nighter spray. I'm just gonna spray it onto the brush. And then this is gonna help with fallout for your glitter shadows because the color that I'm gonna put on is Luscious from that Too Faced palette. And then you could even use water, but I found that setting spray works pretty well. And when I'm doing makeup at my vanity, I don't always have water, so I kind of adopted the setting spray, and then it just kind of gives your eyeshadow that extra hold. And then I just press it in. And then the next thing I like to do is go in with a fluffy crease brush. This one's from Unique. And then I'm gonna go back in with our original shade Georgia and kind of just glide it through to darken the color a little bit. And then if you got any shimmer up there, kind of blend it in a little bit. And that's just kind of my basic eyeshadow look. That's a super easy one. Obviously on the tutorial, it takes a few minutes to get done. But going in with the fluffy crease brush real quick, pressing the base shade, so that's not super necessary, but I like to do that to then give the shimmer shade a little more to adhere to. And then just kind of darkening the back. And then I just really love how it turns out. Next up is liquid liner. The current one I'm using is a Kat Von D ink liner. I went through a lot of liquid liners to get to this point, and there have been some that changed formulas over the years and I really hated it. Typically I do not opt for the pens, but this one is very flexible, so I found that it works really well for me because it simulates an actual liquid liner, because a lot of these brands out here are calling this liquid. While it might kind of come out like liquid, it is still a felt tip marker. This one has been working well for me. I don't know if it's something that I would buy again, because brands are always coming out with new stuff, but I'm always on the hunt for a very quick eyeline, and I only do liner on the upper part of my eye. I will say that I have found that it is hard to line my eye in the camera with this one. So I'm gonna do one eye and then I will attempt to show you the other one. Eyeliner can be difficult and hard to learn. I'll have to have someone take a video of how I do it in the mirror at home, but it is really difficult, this specifically, because it is very close to being like an actual liquid liner. But liquid liner I can usually pretty much just draw right on to show on a video, but this style is a little bit more difficult. All right, so let's see if we can do this. So it looks like it takes excessively long, but I'd say for my first time doing it with this style, because when I used to do makeup lives, I didn't do them in a mirror like I have right below my camera here. But I think it turned out decent, but I think it did the trick to kind of show you. I feel like just when I'm in the mirror, I'm looking straight on and I can get my eye closed a little bit better, kind of like here. Versus here, it was kind of like partially open. So my mirror is angled up, and I have noticed if I bring it down, it's a lot more convenient to do. So that being said, it's not so bad. It is pretty good. I do still prefer like a straight liquid formula, but I like how black this one is. I'm very obsessed with super defined lashes, but I also like them to look long and thick too, so super extra on that. But my current favorite is a 2-wanded mascara from Unique. This super thin, wiry brush is super great for lower lashes. Like I said 20 times, mom life, I don't have time for that stuff. So, I don't know if you could hear that, but it comes out nice and clean except for the very end, and you can wipe that off. And then, that's like such a beautiful brush. blush, it's gonna do a super great job defining the lashes. Just get in really close so you can see every single wrinkle and pore on my face. And then I tend to I prefer looking down so I don't ruin my eyeshadow look with mascara. So that's just one coat, and then it's super buildable and easy to reapply a second coat, but I'd say it's done a pretty good job for me. So for the super quick days, super light coverage, my favorite is a BB Flawless Cream from Unique. So you can use a BB cream, CC cream if you need a little more coverage, or just simply a tinted moisturizer. But I still put primer underneath. My current winter favorite would be just the Touch Glorious from Unique. All summer long, I was really loving e.l.f.'s Poreless Primer Putty Primer. I thought it did a great job kind of basically eliminating my pores, but I found that it's a little bit too drying to put on my whole face now that it's gotten a little bit chilly out. But that was like the holy grail for me all summer. Like I felt like I had the most flawless face. Obviously I put a little setting powder on top of it, but they all worked so well together. So today though, I'm gonna go in with this one. So primers are super important just for like smoothing out the canvas. I'm gonna put about that much. And this one's just a nice clear one. And then I'm just gonna put it everywhere and give it a little bit of time to dry. And then just like areas like here, just really working it in. And then you'll see that I did my eye makeup and then I go to do the face after. A lot of that for me is just in case there's any eyeshadow fall out, it doesn't ruin your concealer or your foundation application. I should also add, make sure that your hands are clean before you do that. I always do my eye makeup, then go wash my hands to make sure there's no glitter left on my hands, and then I do it. So the next thing is the BB cream. This one comes in 6 shades. This is like the second shade because now I'm a bit paler. It is November. So I just put it on my hand. I know that's not like the preferred method, but for a BB cream, I feel like it's so similar to a tinted moisturizer that that's just how I do it. And then it pretty much just rubs in. It's super easy. So like I said, mom hacks. And then it really smooths out the complexion. Even under eye, I have pretty dark circles, so I feel like the BB cream takes away from it a little bit, but I think I would do better with concealer. Not all products work well for everyone. Make sure you know your skin type, and I feel like you will do a lot better, at least at picking them out. I'm not saying that that's going to eliminate all of the problems with all of the products, but it's definitely going to be a great start. And then all summer long, and then I have still been using it currently. I have the Maybelline Fit Me Translucent powder. It's a matte, and it does do what it says. It says poreless. So I have tried a couple of different techniques that I have been experimenting with. Sometimes I've used a flat kabuki brush to kind of press it in right in here because that's where my large pores are. But I've been doing that new thing that everyone's talking about, using the puff. And this is just from Target because I was just testing it out. So because this is a pressed powder, I like to kind of break it up a little bit, and then I tap in and then I tap off the excess. But then I go in right in here. See, you can see I got a little bit too much, but since it's translucent, it will kind of absorb right in. But you can see how smooth it is compared to here. It's like they're just gone. And then because of the BB cream is a more hydrating formula, I like to make sure that I put it under eye so that it's not shiny. But if that's the look you're going for, then leave the finish. But setting is definitely something that I do. And then for those of you that are oily, make sure you put your setting powder just about everywhere, or if you're just oily in the T-zone, because I have combination skin, so I tend to have all my large pores like right here. So I always make sure I take this and press it. So usually if you're dry, you kind of want to stay away from powder. But for certain areas, it would be okay, but you kind of have to know your skin. Like if you put on powder and you just look like you aged 20 years, then that is not the product for you. While a toddler might make you feel like you've aged 20 years because of lack of sleep, and you just have like under eye bags and just your skin is just dehydrated and everything. Let's not make the makeup make things worse, right? All right, and then that would be kind of my finished look unless I wanted to add a little bit of contouring and blush. I wouldn't do a highlight like if it was gonna be just a quick day out or something, but that's kind of my full look. Always making sure you prime though, especially for increasing the longevity of your makeup. A lot of makeup is designed for like 16, 20-hour wear or whatever they're saying these days. But also just priming it, like, because the makeup can only last so long, and if you've got dry skin, it's just gonna soak it in. So if you put a primer on there, it's gonna just help it that much more. Since this is the first tutorial, stay tuned for a little bit more of the vlogging part with the mom, toddler stuff, the relatable content. That's more what I'm going for, making this a little bit more exciting. I didn't want to just sit here and talk about the mom life because I love doing makeup tutorials, so I wanted to like give something but also talk about relatable conversational things about a day in the life, you know, like the toddlers that don't give you time to do your beauty stuff. So I'm here to try to cut down your time and make things faster for you so that we can still feel like ourselves pre-babies, right? Don't want to lose that, because I noticed for me personally, I didn't have time to do my makeup for the longest time, and I was just like missing that piece of me because I loved doing it beforehand, and I love trying new products and all that stuff, and like that literally went under the rug. So just remember, if you're struggling in this season of your baby's life, the season will change. You'll get through it. I did, and now my daughter is about 21 months, coming up on it, actually next week. So the seasons are always changing, so hang in there.